provided to the Co-Star, the official newspaper of the Borough of Belmar, and the Asbury Park Press on January 3rd, 2023. A notice of this meeting was posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building. Take roll call. Councilwoman Donovan? Here. Councilman McKinney? Here. Mayor Bethel-Fusco?
Here.
Councilman Rondinero? Here. Councilman Levin?
Here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for our members of our armed services, our first responders, and tonight for our borough clerk, Nicola Claudio's mom, Louise Witt, who passed away last week. Thank you. Workshop, we have a presentation tonight that we're going to start with from the skate park committee.
So we're going to start with Nick Dakotas, who's our engineer for the skate park, and he's going to do a little presentation about the final renderings of our skate park. So we're really excited about this.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm going to start off with a little video here.
Nick, we're going to come down.
So over the past few months, the skate park committee has been working on this. This is a rendering that was done of the proposed skate park that we put together. The skate park is going to be located in Dempsey Park, where the old skate park that's now not in use anymore is located. We're going to be moving the skate park from the street side closest to 16th Avenue towards the back fence by the recycling center, if you guys are familiar with the park. The park that's in this video right now is approximately 18,000 square feet. It's about double the size of the park that's there now. And the park will, as you can see from the video, has a bowl. It's about 1,900 square feet, and it's going to be like 4 to 6 feet high with pool coping, and then a street area that's about 10,500 square feet. The park was designed to be, play it again. I wonder if I could put it on like a loop. Yeah. The park was designed to be inclusive for as many people as possible. In addition to the fact that the park's designed for all ages and all skill levels, it's also designed specifically with one person in mind here, Anthony, who, if you don't know him, he's blind. And this park is designed for him to be able to actually skate the features. Some of the things that are designed to help him are that some of the features are longer so he can feel them out before he gets onto them. And we're going to be also doing some other things in terms of making it more accessible to everybody. That's kind of the signature part of the goal of the project, is to make it an experience that is open to everybody. We're also including some shade structures and some amenities to make it so that the parents can be able to enjoy their children skating. Yeah, this is kind of the kickoff to show you guys the design. Our fundraising is going to be starting in full gear basically now. So if anybody wants to donate, come find us afterwards. Yeah, so I don't know if we want to have Anthony come up and say a few things about it.
Anthony, you want to come up? Anthony wants to come up and just talk about how it would be better for him, for blind people, special needs people, to experience the skate park as well.
Thanks, Nick. Yeah, we're, as you saw, really excited about the designs going on. Growing up blind, I learned how to skate at Belmar skate park, and it was very convenient because I didn't have to get like a ride or anything. Now I have to pay for Ubers or bug my pregnant wife for rides to the skate park, and it's a little trickier. Also, now skateboarding is becoming very more accessible to everyone. So like there's people in wheelchairs, like all types of abilities are skating. And it's a way to really stay out of trouble and, you know, have a community in your area and a safe place to go. You know, not skating in the streets, getting thrown out of certain areas and things like that. And I think it's really important how everyone's behind making it an ADA, like adaptive skate park, which will be, I think, just incredible for the area in terms of like publicity and, you know, getting like write-ups and media about it, and also for the future to be able to do like competitions and things, and also hosting like an adaptive division in the competitions, which a lot of companies and skate parks are doing nowadays, and it's just becoming very progressive and really just, like I said, available to everyone, and it's really important, and it means the world to me that our community is, you know, doing this and how far we've already gotten. So please, anyway, anyone can help with not only just donating, but like outreach and, you know, spreading the word and just getting as many like newspapers and stories about it as possible. I think it could be a really positive thing for the community. So thank you.
So, you know, I want to thank everybody on the skate park committee, especially Councilwoman McKinney and Bob from the skateboard shop. I think without the two of you guys, this wouldn't be happening, so good job.
Nick is an engineer, and he's donated his time to put a lot of this together. He's also donating his time to do like the engineering plans, which is thousands of dollars that we are saving. So big round of applause for Nick, because this would not get done. There would be so many more financial hurdles to try to get this off the ground. So thank you so much for Nick. We're working on getting you know, QR codes and fundraising off the grounds. As you can see, it's an awesome looking park that costs an awesome amount of money. And so we're gonna try to work the best we can. We have a fundraising committee. Jane Salmon is the head of our fundraising committee. Thank you so much, Jane. She's organized some people in town who are gonna help with getting fundraising going, getting donations going, events going. So stay tuned. Jane, just tell me the name of the new Facebook page that you got going, real quick.
It's Friends of Belmar Skate Park.
Friends of Belmar Skate Park. And that's on Instagram as well?
Not quite yet.
Okay. So we're getting it all kind of moved over to new platforms and once we get this fundraising like glitches kind of worked out with, you know, exactly how we can get our fundraising going, because we are putting it right through the borough, right? It's not going through anybody's personal pocket or anything like that. It's gonna be, we're gonna launch it off and hopefully get going with that. So stay tuned, but this is our preliminary renderings of the park. So, thank you.
I would ask, does any member of the council have any questions they'd like to ask?
I have a question, Mayor, and maybe Councilwoman McKinney, you can answer this for me. But, you know, it seems some of the problems with the old skate park were that nobody ever maintained it. So I'm just curious what the estimated costs are for the upkeep of this, you know, new skate park, and how we're going to fundraise to maintain it.
Sure. Well, part of the skate park committee's ideas was to help with, you know, trying to get some of DPW to just do the basic maintenance like that they were doing in the original park, right? But then there were people that volunteered to kind of walk around, and Bob certainly volunteered to walk around once a week to make sure that it was up to snuff, or have some of the kids walk around and make sure that they were, that it was clean and that there wasn't any vandalism. There is going to be, gates around it. The fences weren't, I don't think, completely laid out in the actual renderings, but there's going to be fencing, and there's going to be ways that, to keep people out and all that stuff too. So, but because it's concrete, the hope is that it's much more permanent and not like so much wear and tear like a wooden park would be, right? So it's not something that would really break down as quickly, right, guys?
Yeah.
Concrete is the big lasts almost forever.
Concrete is what really is the key to this new park. So yes, it costs a little more money, but it's more or less like a forever type of situation than the one that we currently we're dealing with.
Once we have the fundraising for it, what is the time span for actually building the park?
That I don't really know. Nick, can you answer that question? I don't honestly know that
I would
answer.
say probably a couple months, 2 to 3 months, I would say, construction-wise. Like that doesn't include the, getting a contractor on board and some of the closeout stuff that may take, a few weeks where there's not really a lot happening. But 2 to 3 months.
We were able to confirm, and Business Administrator Kate, maybe you can correct me. We were able to confirm that we are part of a co-op that will help with. Can you explain a little bit more about the co-op? It helps with the construction costs and things like that, correct?
Correct, yes. It's part of the Sourcewell Co-op purchasing unit, and there's currently 4 skate park builders that are part of that co-op. So a couple of them have been identified already as good builders of skate parks, good track record. So we'll be able to go right to the builders that the committee wants to be able to contract them directly. Also too, it's a passion project for this committee. So DPW and as well as the police can only be there. They can't be there all the time. So there's going to be a lot on the committee too to make sure this is well kept and maintained and everything. So it's going to be a group community effort to build it nicely and then keep it nicely.
And just another aside about the co-op, they give discounts, right? When you're part of the co-op, there's like a discount on certain building, right?
Yeah, of these 4, what we're identifying, our purchasing agent has already reached out to all 4 companies. 1, to see if they do work in New Jersey, and then 2, what kind of discounts they give as part of that co-op. I know off the top, at the last meeting, Nick identified one was like an 8% discount, the other was a 7% discount. So we're reaching out directly to those companies and then bring that back to the committee, and the committee will decide, they know who can build them and who can't, and we'll go from there.
How much money are you estimating needs to be raised for this?
Yeah, that's the magic number. It's going to be over $1 million. We're thinking between $1 million and 1.4. Is that what we thought? 1.3. Certainly some things that we love, like the lighting, can be a phase 2. Like some of the shade structures we love, could be something that we add on later. So it's really going to depend on some of our, the estimates and things that we get. But it's for sure going to be upwards of $1 million.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, okay. We can take some questions on
Council has decided. That's a
skate park only
question.
questions.
Yes.
Go ahead, James. Come on up. Make your address.
Jane Salmon, 1613 State Route 71, Wool. Wasn't really a question, I just wanted to add, I believe we were going to look at some grants as well to help with costs.
Yes, I did forget to mention that.
There's certain recreation grants. We got one this year. That's going to be to resurface the basketball courts. We will reapply for that grant, of course, for next year. There's open space grants, there's Green Acres grants, and then of course, because we're kind of delving into the adaptive ADA side of this, there are many grants out there for, you know, ADA and adaptive community. And now that we have our grant writers on board, we're going to, Kevin, do you want to expand on that a little bit?
They're already aware of everything and already have it on their radar, start looking for grant opportunities in their network.
I just wanted to say too that you had mentioned it's built with one person in mind, but it's not just one person. As wonderful as Anthony is, that this is for an entire community and people within our own community and beyond Belmar to be included in a wonderful sport. So thank you for doing this work.
And it's, you know, can be a tourism attraction. People are going to come from out of town and, you know, spend money in other businesses in town and look for places to eat and places to hang out and go to the beach. So this certainly can be a tourist attraction if it's built like we want it to be built and as cool as it looks.
And then this will be free of charge, right? We're not planning to like lease a concession or anything there, right? No.
However, that being said, there may be camps and things that we may do, you know, special events that we may charge for, depending on, you know, how that works out. But like things like that would be for, you know, charge, but otherwise it will be free.
Mr. Mayor, may I make a comment?
Sure. We need to.
Can we adjust the mic? Turn up to mine. Just pick it up higher. Pick it up higher. Just pick it up higher. You'll be speaking into it better.
Go ahead. We're okay.
Okay, about this, thank you very much for all your work here. And it looks very nice to the eye and everything. A couple of things though. What's the idea of the shelters? Sort of like a bus shelter or something? What's that about?
Well, they're more like shade structures that we built in. The designer built in shade structures. So like if a parent were to come and bring their kids, didn't want to leave, just wanted to watch, that they could be away from the sun or the rain. Or
They do that. They did that on the old one with Saturday cars.
Okay, well, again, like we said, that could be a phase two. It could be something that we have over there. It was just put in by the designer.
All right, about the police up of the facility, as far as anybody doing anything other than the DPW, forget about it. That ain't gonna happen. Just like the last time when they swore in blood that they would take care of it, trust me, it's not gonna happen. It'll be all on the DPW. Thank you very much in advance. Also, I'm very happy that it's, you know, very inclusive. That's a good word, right? It's inclusive. But it doesn't look, everything looks very much softer than the existing one now. Especially with that thing that the kids really, really, really liked. Up and back, constant. I would have got tired of that pretty quick, but they didn't. They really loved that and everything. Now that seems to have been phased out, correct?
No, it's in there. There's one of the parts of there is practically like an empty swimming pool. It's 6 feet deep. The kids are gonna love it. Don't worry. There's plenty for them.
This one here?
Right to the left, up top right. Right there, yeah.
That one?
Yep.
That one.
That's 4 to 6 feet.
That's 4 to 6?
Yep.
Bigger than what's there now, Mr. Dilberger.
All right, one other thing. I know the question was asked, but I didn't catch the answer. How long, makes me think of a joke, how long was a Chinaman? Forget about it. How long do you think this is going to take to happen?
Well, there's, you know, the money is the biggest component. We have to get the plans actually architecturally designed, which takes time. And like I said, Nick is donating his time to do that. So he has a full-time job, and he's letting us, you know, we're working on his timeline for the actual plans. And then once we submit the plans to put out to bid and through our co-op, we'll pick our, you know, our construction company to build it. That's when we'll know a little bit more about the specifics regarding how much money it's going to cost. And then we get to real
You don't know that yet.
I mean, we have an estimate, we have
Well,
a,
what's
we
the
have a
estimate?
guesstimate, over $1 million.
No, what's the estimate of the timeline to get it done?
I'm gonna say at least a year.
There is absolutely no way, in any way, shape, or form, that the old one could be refurbished and put in action before that time.
No.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Oh, my God.
Tom Volker, what do you want us to take? Tom Volker, 527 8th Avenue, Belmar. And my grandson, Kyle Jones, will be an avid user, probably be the first one in line. The thing I'm thinking about is, and Tom touched upon it, is supervision. I think if you're thinking that supervision will be volunteers, that will die quickly. It really requires a salaried supervisor, and it should be in your numbers to be realistic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Not seeing any. I think we can move on to other. Oh, we got one last.
Hi, I'm Robin McGovern, and I'm 610 6th Avenue here in Belmar. And I understand that this is extra work for the DPW, but don't they also take care of our playgrounds, our Jane McGovern playground, our playground on 15th Avenue, our pickleball courts, our tennis courts that are accessible to everybody? So I'm not seeing what the stumbling block there is. And to address the supervision issue, there's never a supervisor at a skate park. Doesn't work that way. You know, it becomes more of a liability if you have a supervisor there, as I understand, through insurance. And that's why when you go to any state park, and we just came back from California, skateboarding, there are no supervisors. So, but my granddaughter will be the first one, not his grandson.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else?
Kyle's actually on our committee, so he was a big input into the design of this, so thank you, Kyle.
Okay, I think we're going to move on to other items on the work session. Does any other council members like to
I have something,
talk
if
about
that's
something?
okay, Mayor. I have good news regarding the Belmar Housing Authority building renovations. The scaffolding, as you probably have seen, is up. Congressman Smith recently mailed a letter advising us that his request for $676,000 in federal funding for the Belmar Senior Public Housing Building has moved out of committee and is now included in the House Transportation, Housing, and Urban Development Appropriations Bill. So that is great news. The bill still needs to be reviewed and voted on by the full House, the Senate, and signed by the President, but the committee's support is the most significant step in the path to the final passage. When I was gathering letters of support for this request for community funding back in February, it felt like a long shot. But I am so thankful to Congressman Smith and his office, and for you all, Mayor and Council, and for our borough for advocating for this and seeing it through for the health and safety of our amazing seniors in the building. This is a perfect example of how working together for our communities, despite different political affiliations, can bring blessings and change.
Anything else?
Verizon, since the last meeting, I don't know if you remember, but since the last meeting, the county commissioners put out a press release letting us know, letting everyone know that they had passed the first hearing, right? Of a resolution to hire a county telecom attorney and to create a county master plan. And their press release specifically mentioned Belmar and their support for us, so this is a really great step. And it will go beyond Belmar to making sure that the whole county has the right tools in place to make sure there aren't, 3 towers on everybody's corner. So that's really big news. We've been talking to them. I've talked to their attorney. I've talked to the potential attorney they may hire. We're really excited about that direction that they're going in. I know right now, and they mentioned this in the press release, there's a stumbling block about, or there's a disagreement between Verizon and the county about whether something Verizon submitted will count towards the next deadline. We don't have an update on that yet, but we are checking in pretty frequently, which brings us to the next item.
Yeah, so we actually have been in touch with Mr. Lupo, our borough attorney, and Mr. Campanelli, who is the county telecom attorney, that's his name?
Maybe. It hasn't passed yet.
Hasn't totally passed yet, but more than likely. And we all agreed that we should do another public meeting at Taylor Pavilion. So we are going to do another Belmar public, hosting another 5G info night at Taylor Pavilion. It's going to be slated right now for August 17th. That's a Thursday night at 7 p.m. It's mostly going to be the attorneys doing all the talking about the specifics, but we have invited Chris Smith, we have invited Tom Arnone, and as many of the bigwigs, if you will, to get there, so that we can have all the information out there, any questions that you want, so spread the word. That is going to be the date, August 17th.
Anything else? I will just make a footnote to that. If you go to that meeting, you're only going to see 2 members of the council there, because by the Open Public Meetings Act, 3 people from the council cannot attend, because then it becomes an official public meeting. So, if you don't see me there, or Maria or Mark, it's not because we're not interested, it's just that we don't want to violate the law, and I'm sure we'll get all the information that we need from Councilwoman Kinney and Councilwoman Donovan.
Mayor, can we advertise it as a public meeting? And then we could potentially be on.
I'd have to defer to Mr. McGill on that, because we could. Well, we can talk about that. I don't have any objection to that, but we have plenty of time.
Is there a downside to making it a public meeting?
I haven't given it any thought. Always a downside to the public. Yeah, we can talk about it. That's what you want to do.
Okay.
And if anyone has any additional questions, they can contact me.
What was the date again on that?
August 17th. It's a Thursday night. So we originally did it on a Monday, but the Luck and Bill Pops bands on Monday nights, so we don't want to interfere. And I already cleared it with Barry Trugo from Recreation that was available, so we made it for Thursday, the 17th at 7 p.m.
April, how soon would we need to advertise that if we were doing it on the 17th?
48 hours, but we usually like to do it sooner than that.
Okay, but I mean, it would not, we'll have plenty of time to advertise. Okay, so we have a council meeting before then, right? Is it on the 8th?
Yeah.
Okay, so we can make an announcement on the 8th. Hopefully we'll have a decision as to whether or not it's going to be a public meeting, and we'll let everyone know at that point. Okay? Okay. Any other items? Okay, I have a few items. The first thing I'd like to tell the council about is Administrator Kane and I met with a few officials from the fire department. We met with Chief Hudson, Nick LaRusso, Sean Pringle, and Kevin Maroney this past Friday night, specifically to discuss 3 issues. One was equipment purchases, and along with that was the use of some grant money that we have. Second issue was, of course, the issues we have with the 11th Avenue Firehouse, which has been closed due to electrical wiring issues. They have knob and tube wiring which needs to be removed or not utilized. And then the final thing was the chief's vehicle, the second chief's vehicle. You'll notice on the agenda tonight we do have 2 items already listed. We have a resolution taking on the chief's vehicle as a vehicle of the municipality. And we also have a special, I won't say it's assessment, but a special emergency appropriation for fixing the firehouse, which is going to be basically a whole rewiring of it. There's no point in ripping out what's there. It's just easier to just put all new stuff in. So that's what we're going to do on that. As far as the equipment, I think we all agreed that we're going to give the fire department whatever it is they need. We have 2 grants which will be utilized for a lot of the purchase. There's a $223,000 grant that will be utilized, and there's a $40,000 grant that will be utilized. And we also represented, and Mr. Kane can correct me if I'm wrong, that we will purchase additional equipment with borough funds. So I think we're good with that, and I just wanted to let you all know that that's where we left it. Okay. The second thing I'll talk about is just very quickly the issue with the peace control services. I personally drafted the specifications for going for that proposal, and I gave it to our purchasing department, and we should be seeing, a request for proposals coming out very soon. They just have to put it all together with our standard package. And the last thing had to do with, I just wanted to point out to the council too, we have a couple of ordinances on tonight that were in direct response to comments that people made at the last meeting. I have them here, just to point out. There was one on the amending the beach ordinances. 2 parts to that. Is there was a question about the surfing area, and you'll see that basically the rule will be, you can surf anywhere along the beach, unless surf.
You got me real excited there.
I'm sorry, I got hooked up on surf. Yes, you can fish anywhere along the beach as long as the lifeguards are not, present. In other words, between the hours of 9 and 6 or 7 that they're there. And the second thing was someone had complained about erection of a volleyball court down on 20th Avenue where the beach was so very narrow. And Mr. McGill and I talked about that, and we said we thought it was practical that, where the wider beaches start, around 7th Avenue and then go north over to 1st Avenue, that would be the good place for permitting your volleyball tents, volleyball nets and whatever, because the beaches are so wide. In fact, I was there on Sunday and there were 2 deep volleyball courses. So by the time this passes and gets out there and becomes official, I don't think there's really going to be much left to this summer to enforce that. And obviously we would have to post signage along the boardwalk to let people know that it's not going to be able to just play volleyball or whatever else you want to play that involves erecting some kind of a net until probably next year. So, but I think it's important that we get it out there, and like I said, we will then post along the boardwalk signs so people will know, you can't play volleyball here, but you can play down, between 7th and 1st Avenue. I'm trying to think of what the other one was.
In reading that ordinance, you would need a permit in order to have that net, is that correct?
No.
Okay.
You don't need a permit.
I had a question about the wording here. It says other sports apparatus or structures. Would that include some of the smaller games I see kids playing, like spike ball and things like that?
Spike ball?
It exists. I mean, it's like a small, almost trampoline-looking thing that they put
No, it's primarily geared to volleyball, but you could theoretically put up a goalpost or something like that, have a soccer tournament. So we didn't want that type of thing. So, we say a basketball court, I haven't seen one there, but, you don't want that either. So things along, that line. I don't think anybody's gonna, hassle a kid with his
Light bulb.
I'm not a fan, to be clear. Just curious.
I think practically speaking, it probably would be something that would be, the size of a volleyball court or something of that, nature. I'm sure there will be some gray area that someone will bring up, and we'll have to think about it when that comes up.
It's going to have to be enforced with common sense.
Common sense, yes. And the last thing was there was a mention about controlling dust and debris from demolition, and the ordinance, the current ordinance, only really dealt with complete demolition of a structure, and we modified it to also cover partial demolitions. Basically, that's what this other ordinance is for. And I believe we're also working on something with the noise ordinance.
Yes, last meeting, I think it was Chairman Mahoney brought up a suggestion that we all thought was a good idea, which was to include when someone's doing work in town, construction work, contracting work, plainly written paper that warns them of the noise ordinance and what a violation could be fined as. So we've written one up. It's in English and in Spanish, and once the final version is approved, that will be included in those packets.
Okay, any other items for work session? Okay, petitions. Are there any petitions?
Did not receive any.
Okay, approval of minutes.
Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the July 11th meeting?
The motion?
Second.
Councilman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilman McKinney?
Abstain.
Mayor Buckafusco?
Yes.
Councilman Rondero?
Yes.
Councilman Levitt?
Yes.
Okay, reports of council. I guess we'll start to my right.
My first report is I would like to wish Councilwoman Montanaro a very happy birthday. So happy birthday, Maria. Second is that we have officially scheduled the San Gennaro Festival for September 16th. It will include food vendors, music, and a traditional procession from the church. So we're all very excited about that. A special thank you for John Walsh for getting that across the finish line.
Is that going to be a whole weekend again, or just one day?
It will be one day. That's to maximize the financial situation.
So just the 7th?
Yes.
Okay, Councilwoman McKinney.
Thank you so much. So recreation fall soccer signups are happening now. You can go to belmar.com and scroll down to recreation, click on the link, and sign up for fall soccer. The Luckinville Pops Band, as we mentioned, is every Monday still, Taylor Pavilion, 7 p.m. Friday night concerts continue. This Friday is the Black Ties. Tomorrow's night's movies on the beach is the Lego Movie. It starts at dusk. ADA Committee, the next meeting meets August 24th at the library. Shade Tree Committee, the Main Street Initiative, is looking to plant some new trees north of 8th Avenue where there are some vacancies, old trees, ones that have died, or ones that need to be replanted, so we're going to be looking at planting new trees there. Still some hazardous trees in town that need to be addressed, so if you're on that list, get your permits and take your trees down. And then Thursday, September 21st, the library is hosting the Master Gardener's Pruning presentation. Look out for more information about that. And then around the schools, Belmar Elementary School, their extended school year has been going on from July 10th till August 10th. Students are in from 8:30 to 11:30 Monday through Thursday. Lunch is included. Next week, Belmar Elementary is hosting a technology seminar for students from 11:30 to 1 Monday through Thursday. And the first floor bathrooms are being renovated in the school, and office hours are Monday through Thursday from 8 to 3. St. Rose Grammar School, summer office hours are 8 to 12 Monday through Thursday. Same with the high school. And the high school, again, this is a big year. That's their centennial year for St. Rose High School, 100 years. They're having a centennial gala on the 11th, November 11th, at Spring Lake Golf Club. All members of the Belmar community are invited to attend this milestone event. The high school will also be selling 50-50 tickets, $20 each. You can buy them in the school, online, or outside of masses on the following dates: August 12th, September 10th, October 8th, and November 5th. Winners do not need to be present at the gala. Okay? And then I think that is it. Good.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilwoman Rondinero, happy birthday.
Well, thank you, Mayor. I'd like to thank the firehouse and the departments for attending today, and the supporters for bringing light to important and imminent issues that will help you continue to serve and protect us, the Belmar and Lake Como residents. As volunteers, you lay down your lives for our community. We recognize that. I dare not think of what additional casualties we would have had or destruction we would have had on Surf Avenue in that deadly fire in March if it weren't for volunteer firefighters like yourselves. It's our responsibility as a borough and as a community to support you, as you are always ready to support us. So I thank you for being here, for advocating for what you need, and I thank the mayor and the business administrator and our CFO, Lorraine, for helping make those things happen on these resolutions and the ordinances that we'll be passing today to help support the fire department. So thank you.
I have other things.
Hold on. So we talked about the Belmar Housing Authority. Their next meeting is August 7th at 5:15. Also, a thank you to the Belmar Public Library for making audiobooks available and delivered to the residents. Our library is proud to present a living history presentation, Lincoln and Grant's Friendship, featuring historian and actor Kenneth Surface, presenting in character as U.S. Army General Ulysses S. Grant, Saturday, August 5th at 10 a.m. live at the library. Please register online. So there's no Tommy B in the Deep Blue Sea tonight, clearly, because it is the rain out. But he will be scheduled on the library lawn once again August 22nd. So be on the lookout for that. The library is holding its first summer field day on the lawn on Saturday, August 12th at 11:30 to 1:30 p.m., featuring a family fun-filled set of literary themed activities, including sack races, cornhole, pogo balls. It's going to be a fun time. Registration is required and must be done on our website. It's ideal for families aged 5 and up. Working from home but needing to get out of the house, please go to the library with free Wi-Fi. You can print, copy, fax. There's so many things to help you get your work done at the library. They have spacious workstations so you can spread out, plug in your devices, and there are people at the library there to help you. So feel free to call them with more details. Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll emphasize Councilwoman Rondinara's sentiment on our fire department. I've gotten to see firsthand how these guys work. You know, even in small dose, I've seen them put out at least 2 fires adjacent to my property. And these guys work hard. And the issues they've brought up, they're going to tell us about it. I just want to let you guys know I hear you. I hear you, and we're here to support you any way we can. With that said, I'll announce that the 16th Shillelagh Fluke Tournament is coming up on August 12th. If you're into fishing, that's a great event. I am not a very good fisherman, so I do not enter, but it's a great cause and a great organization. I also want to talk about last Thursday. We had the 28th annual Junior Lifeguard Tournament, and it was a huge, huge success. We had 459 participants from all around the area, as far south as Surf City that came up. And these were kids within our Junior Lifeguard program. And I want to give a big thank you to our Junior Lifeguard Director, Nicoletta Contella. She did a fantastic job. She actually came through this organization when she was 9 years old, when she started, and now she's the director. The Junior Lifeguard program has grown from, what was the number, 91 participants last year to over 186 participants this year. They're expecting to have about 200 next year. So it's a program that's really expanding, and it's really giving these kids a great opportunity to learn water safety and to basically train to become lifeguards someday in the future. And that's a really great skill that we need in this area. So again, I want to thank Nicoletta. I want to thank our lifeguard captain, Mike DeRouge, who is there, who's been helping out with this program, and also lifeguard Isabella Carbonell. She's been assisting with this program. They're really teaching all these kids some really great skills. I just want to thank our DPW workers, Billy, Charlie, and Ricky, who were there to help set up. Chief Scott and the Belmar Police Department for being there. They said it was really good to have the support of the police there. Our lifeguard director, Harry. And I also want to thank our sponsors. And I am going to read our sponsors because they really helped put this together. So Pliables, Century 21 Sloshback, Easter Lines, Belmar Fishing Club, Princeton Soccer Academy, Bar A, Seaport Marina, Beckman's on the Beach, Lawrence Law, Kinney Chiropractic, thank you, Jody, Bogitos, Aquatherm, Shoreside In-Home Therapy, Atlantic Tile, Road Laundromat, LaRusso Landscaping, Debo Constructions, Coronita Property Group, The Handsome Devil, where I just was today, Surf's Up Campbell, and Salty's Beach Park. I have a lot of volunteers here. I don't want to go through the whole list. But again, really thankful for our director, Nicoletta, Mike DeRouge, and Isabella for putting that program together and making sure it was a great event. We had wonderful weather, and it was really fun to see those kids out there practicing and learning. They all had a good time. So thank you to them. Thank you for all involved.
Okay, let's move on to public session or resolutions on the agenda. If anyone would have any comments, please come up to the microphone, state your name and address.
Hi, Diane Kreca at River Avenue in Belmar. I was here last week, Mayor. I asked you about if you had known anything about the recent robberies in the Inlet Terrace area, and you had mentioned that you had no idea about them and that you were going to look into it and get back to us. So I'm here to ask you where we are on that now.
I can take that. I believe Detective Larry Kelly contacted you.
Yeah.
So there were several burglaries in the area.
Yeah.
When they did occur, we went door to door in the area, speaking to the residents, trying to find video surveillance of the two homes at that point that had been hit. There was no video from the homes, no surveillance or anything like that. The homes that were hit were unoccupied for months at a time. They were, I believe, summer homes. We were unable to pinpoint a time they occurred. We did not basically have nothing to go on as far as we've taken the safes have been turned over to the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office. Any evidence was turned over to be processed. Nothing came back. We have no positive IDs, possible IDs. We've been monitoring the pawn shops in the area to see if any of the items that were stolen had been turned in to get cash. That has not happened. Like I said, we went door to door trying to find surveillance on anything, and there was just nothing. This past one that just happened, I believe at the beginning of July, there was video, unable to identify. He was in a black mask, black hoodie, black gloves. Unfortunately, right now, there's nothing that we have to go on for these break-ins. We did post something on Facebook. We gave some suggestions on things for people to do. I mean, we offer a vacant home check. The form is on our website. If you're going to be away for extended periods of time, fill out the form, drop it off. We can keep a better eye on your house, knowing that if it's going to be empty or not. You know, so they are still investigating it. They're trying to, you know, find video surveillance of anything that's happening in the area. You know, if you see something, you need to call us. But other than that, that's where it's at right now.
I do know that, I believe in Avon, I believe that they had notices that went out to everybody, you know, formal notices, because I've asked a few of my neighbors around the inlet, and I don't think a lot of them were even, you know, residing there when the knock-in chat occurred, because I believe it was in the beginning of May.
That's something we can do
Yeah.
in the future. You know, I know Councilman Raldonado said something about doing the Nixle message. That's something we can do, you know, in the future. But they did go around. We did post on social media that it was occurring not only in our jurisdiction, it's surrounding towns. It's happening in Spring Lake, Avon, and you know, we did put the information out there. Unfortunately, there's no time frame on when this happened.
Except for the last one. that you knew.
Yes.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. That's what concerns me, I think, is that it started a year ago, and then there were some during the winter, and now there's one in July, so it sounds as if, you know, they're pretty persistent and might keep coming back, so that's why I was just, you know, wondering what your thoughts were on that as a strategy. Go.
No, I think that the chief, you know, explained almost everything that could possibly be done at this point. I thank her for her, you know, her
We've
her
had
efforts.
patrols out there just for that reason. You know, keeping an eye on the area. I don't want to give out too much information on what they're doing, but you know, it is under investigation, and we're trying to do everything that we can.
Okay. And the other question I had was the White House. What's happening with that?
Oh yeah, we're still on the consent agenda. We have to wait for the public session on the.
Okay, I'll be back.
Any other questions on the resolutions? Mr. Creamer?
Gene Creamer, 4th Avenue. I just have a quick question here. Emergency resolution pursuant to NJS 40A:4-48. Is that for the firehouse?
Yes.
Okay. Is that why these firemen are here?
I can't tell you exactly why they're here, but I don't think it's for that, no.
Oh, okay. Then I have a question about it.
Go ahead.
I read this quickly, and this is for emergency appropriation to repair knob and tube wiring in the building. And I guess that's the firehouse on 11th Avenue?
Yes.
Okay, currently we have firehouses on 7, 9, 11, and a new one being constructed at, we're going to be constructed at 12th and Main. What houses, what firehouses are scheduled to be retired when the new firehouse at 12th and Main is constructed?
Well, we haven't even gone down that road yet because the 12th and Main property is still being remediated. So, you know, we don't have a timeline on that. At this point, no firehouses are being slated for retirement. Okay, and one of the things I will add that I forgot to mention to the council also is we're going to arrange for an electrician to also inspect the other 2 firehouses that are currently in operation to make sure that, number one, they're safe and that they don't contain any knob and tube wiring or any other kind of wiring that may, you know, be a health issue for the volunteers that are in there. We're also going to arrange for a structural inspection of all 3 firehouses to make sure again that they're safe. And that will be, you know, we've already talked to our engineer, and they have people within their company who can do that. So we're committed to making sure that all 3 firehouses are safe and operational at this point.
Yeah, I guess I'm bringing up a practical question as far as, and I guess being appropriated here is $75,000. Okay, are we going to put $75,000 into upgrading a building only to, you know, next year take a wrecking ball to it?
Well, we are, you know, we have those same conversations all the time too, but I don't think that it's going to cost $75,000 to rewire the firehouse. It's just that we need to get 3 quotes to find out how much it is, and you know, we'll spend whatever we need to spend to keep the 3 firehouses in operation for as long as they need to be in operation. So, you know, I don't think we're going to spend $75,000, but I'm assuming that that number came from the CFO, and maybe that, I don't know if that's a minimum amount that needs to be put before, so I'm not sure where the
That
$75,000.
$75,000 does come from the CFO.
Right.
And I guess we already had an emergency appropriation for the marina.
Correct.
And now she's come up with an estimate of emergency appropriations of $100,000.
Right.
So we got 75 plus, say, 25,000. Now, certainly, when the borough purchased this property at 12th and Main, it was anticipated that the sale of other property from either 1, 2, or maybe even 3 of the firehouses would offset the construction of the new house, the help offset the cost of the new facility. That's why I'm just trying to get a feel, is this the next, say for instance, you clean up the site, and by the way, gas stations, thousands have been cleaned up in this country, thousands of them. And we build a new firehouse that has 2 bays and also accommodation for the EMS, plus a muster room. Where's the practicality here? Most municipalities, we have 3 firehouses already in a town that's 1 square mile. That's because those firehouses were essentially built when the pumper truck was being pulled by horses, okay?
I'm going to get to the point of your question. Right now, we don't know what's going to happen with the property on 12th and Main. Okay, I can't tell you what eventually is going to happen to that property, but for the time being, as long as I can foresee, the 3 firehouses will remain. Okay? That's all I can tell you at this point. That no decision has been made as to what that 12th and Main property will be used for. We will, the business administrator and I, and the engineer, and our planners, and our redevelopment attorney, we will be looking at a bunch of different things. And right now, that property is not, it's not cleaned up first, and it's not necessarily going to be used. It could be used for what its original purpose was, and then again, it might not be. Okay, so there's no point speculating at this point because we really need to find out how badly it is contaminated, and then we'll decide on what we want to do with it. Okay? Any other questions?
Good evening, Drew Fromkin, 201 South Lake, Mayor and Council. I didn't know I'd be addressing this tonight, but I saw the ordinance on the volleyball nets and the surf fishing. So
We're on the resolutions right now. I'm sorry.
That's not a resolution?
No, that's an ordinance.
Oh.
Those are ordinances.
We're going to come back to ordinance?
Yes, please. Okay. Any other questions on or comments on the resolutions? Okay, I don't see any. April?
I have a motion to close the public session.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to approve the resolutions as listed on the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Councilwoman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kitty?
Yes.
Mayor Buck Fusco?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rondinero?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
Okay, next we have second reading and public hearing on ordinance 2023-11. This is an ordinance amending Chapter 4, establishing rules and regulating third-party payroll disbursement. So this is open for public comment. If anyone would like to speak on this ordinance, please step forward, state your name and address. Okay. Since there are no comments, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion. Second.
All in favor? And can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2023-11?
Motion.
Second?
Councilwoman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Fusco?
Yes.
Councilman Rondinero?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
Next is second reading and public hearing on ordinance 2023-12. This is an ordinance amending Chapter 26 to update the property maintenance code. This is open for public comment. If anyone would like to speak on this ordinance, please step forward, state your name and address.
Mr. Creamer.
Eugene Creamer, 4th Avenue. Let's see, this section 302-.4, weeds. Premises and exterior property shall be maintained free of weeds or plant growth in excess of 10 inches. Noxious weeds shall be prohibited. Weeds shall be defined as all grasses, annual plants, and vegetation other than trees or shrubs, provided, however, this term shall not include cultivated flowers or gardens. This definition and I guess regulation of weeds is far too broad, and I made some notes here just as examples.
Can someone bring the mic, Mr. Kramer? Thank you. Is that okay? We always learn so much. I want to make sure that everyone learns who's watching at home too.
Okay. This has to do with using the International Property Maintenance Code. And the definition of weeds here is far too broad, and it's environmentally insensitive.
Can I just ask I'd like to ask Mr. McGill a question though before you continue. Is this something that can be modified if it's because it's part of the International Property Maintenance Code? We have the ability. Okay, so these are something that we could, by ordinance, change.
No, those are the changes. The specific codes that are listed are different than what the actual property maintenance code says. And those are based off of what's in our ordinance currently.
Okay, so this is actually what
So we're adopting the entire code,
right.
But those specific sections are amended even further. So
this is what our ordinance says now?
Yes.
What the weeds? So it's not part of the code. It's just okay. So I'm sorry. I thought that was part of the code, but this is actually our ordinance as it exists right now.
Right.
What I'm hearing.
There were many more. There are many more exceptions listed. However, when the zoning officer went through it, we found that a lot of our exceptions match the code word for word and were just superfluous. So we eliminated those, and what remains is what we have that actually are amendments to the code. So if I understand it, April, none of this is new.
correct. Actually, in that particular section is word for word what's in the property maintenance code, but the reason why we have to list it separately is because we have to insert the height, the number of inches.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. I just wanted to get that clear in my own mind as to what we were actually looking at.
Okay. Anyhow, I feel it's far too broad, and it's environmentally insensitive. The best way to regulate any vegetation is by actually by the species name, and like Belmar did with running bamboo and other invasive species. Then we have some initiatives that have gone on in town here over the years, namely milkweed and the monarch butterfly, and also pollinators in general. I don't see the purpose of having this whole section on weeds included here. If you want to regulate a weed, regulate it, but tell us what it is. Just don't tell us weeds.
Okay, we can take a look at that and modify it. take another look at it with the code officials and see if we can come up with a better explanation of what a weed is, or maybe we can just eliminate it or make it much more specific.
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep people from running around with, their spray bottles of Roundup and other.
Anything can be a weed, as we know.
Exactly, and God bless the grass that grows through the cracks.
Unfortunately, that's the only place my grass grows. Thank you. Any other comments on the resolutions? I'm not doing well tonight, I'm sorry. I didn't have my last cup of coffee, that's why. On that ordinance.
Can I have a motion to close the public hearing? Motion. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And a motion to adopt ordinance 2023-12.
Motion.
Second. Councilman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckfusco?
Yes.
Councilman Rondenaro?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
Next we have ordinance 2023-13. This was second reading and public hearing to amend chapter 19 to create a three-way stop on near River Avenue and Inlet Terrace, but we are going to amend that ordinance to clarify that it's the intersection of River Avenue, Inlet Terrace, and 4th Avenue. So if we could get a motion to amend that ordinance and reintroduce it for first reading.
I'll make the motion.
Second. Councilman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckfusco?
Yes.
Councilman Rondenaro?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
Next, we have first reading and public hearing on, or first reading and introduction of ordinance 2023-14. This is an ordinance to repeal and replace Chapter 42, Affordable Housing Development Fees. We have a motion to offer this ordinance for first reading and introduction.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Councilman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckfusco?
Yes.
Councilman Rondenaro?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
Next is ordinance 2023-15. This is an ordinance amending Chapter 25, buildings pertaining to controlling dust and debris from demolition and construction. Do we have a motion to offer for first reading and introduction?
Motion.
Second. Councilman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckfusco?
Yes.
Councilman Rondenaro?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
And last one, ordinance 2023-16. This is an ordinance amending Chapter 18, beachfront and marine regulations. We have specifically Section 18-2.7, controlling rules and regulations of the beachfront and waters. Do we have a motion to offer for first reading and introduction?
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Donovan?
Yes.
Councilman Kinney?
Yes.
Mayor Buckfusco?
Yes.
Councilwoman Rondenaro?
Yes.
Councilman Levis?
Yes.
All right, now we're on to public session. If anyone would like to speak, please remember to state your name and address first. Come up to the microphone.
Okay, I feel better about this now. Pumpkin 201 South Lake. I'll make this quick. First of all, it's great that you're responding quickly to the requests of residents. I worry a little bit we overreact sometimes to residents asking about certain things, but in this particular moment, just for the surf fishing, perhaps you might consider just making sure that it's clear that you can fish on the jetties during that period. I don't know if you want to point that out, or by it's just this definition here that we're just eliminating it on the beach. Because I don't think jetty fishing is ever eliminated.
We had discussed that, and I don't recall what, I don't recall if there's another ordinance that talks about fishing on the jetties or
I
not.
think there is.
There is?
I think there is.
Yeah. We can take a look at that and obviously see if that's something that we need to.
Just so also DPW and the lifeguards aren't confused when that happens. That's people do it all the time.
Right. We'll look at it and absolutely, either if we have to amend the ordinance, we'll amend it.
Yeah, we can have an ordinance to eliminate ordinances.
Yeah.
All kidding aside though, on the volleyball stuff, it does catch my attention. I know that they're concerned about the depth of the beach down south, and therefore when you put the volleyball nets on there, it eats into, you know, people's quality of their day. But to move it all the way up north of 7th moves a lot of volleyball activity to a very concentrated area. So if you feel that's, you know, appropriate to move it in such a concentrated area, I'll defer to your judgment on that. I feel like there are a lot of deep beaches between 7th and 14th or whatever where you could still maybe limit it to 1 or something so it doesn't get out of control. And my only other request, or maybe just for consideration, is to consider, it seems like it's within 100 feet of the boardwalk, so that's not a very far place, and I know you've considered that. So there's 2 other things. Maybe you can consider moving it away from the lockers or something, because if they put them right in front of the lockers, that's going to create a lot of issues. And we also have spoken about people trouncing on the dunes, and they're between the boardwalk and there, so you don't want them putting them near the dunes. So just those were just suggestions for you to consider in the next iteration.
Anytime you're trying to make something new like that, there are always a myriad of things that you can't anticipate.
So it's a good thought, but I just wanted to...
It's a work in progress.
Enter
Let's
that
look at it that way.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Any other comments?
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Please state your name and address.
Stephen Hudson, the Chief of Belmar Fire Department on 613 11th Ave.
Your address, your home address?
I'm sorry?
Your home address?
Up 200 Janelle Parkway, Point Pleasant. Before we begin, I'd like to thank the residents of Belmar for showing their appreciation for the fire department and for their attendance tonight. As I said, my name is Stephen Hudson. I'm the Chief of the Fire Department out of Hook and Ladder on 11th Avenue. To my left is Nick LaRusso, First Assistant Chief out of Union Fire Company on 9th Ave, and Sean Pringle to my right, Second Assistant Chief out of Goodwill Hose on 7th Ave. The men and the women in uniform in the back of the room are firefighters that keep this department up and running from all 3 companies, and I'd like to thank them for attending tonight as well. I'd like to quickly set the stage for everyone in the room as to what the men and women of the fire department go through to become firefighters and how they keep their skills sharp throughout their career. The New Jersey State Firefighter 1 curriculum is a 190-hour program spanning across 5 months that builds a firefighter's foundation in the fire service. It's followed by today, the State Firefighter 2 course, which is another 60 hours of advanced firefighting training. There are state examinations for both Firefighter 1 and Firefighter 2, as well as hazardous materials, and they must pass all of them to become a certified state firefighter. We also have members who hold multiple other certifications, like emergency medical technician, which is 190 hours. Certified fire inspectors at 90 hours, fire instructors at 40 hours, fire investigators at 80 hours, hazmat technicians, and so on and so forth. Many of these certifications also require continuing education units to keep them current from year to year. In addition, once certified, each company has bi-weekly and weekly hands-on trainings, requirements set forth by their fire officers to keep their skills sharp. So mandatory on-air live smoke and fire scenarios at the academy are required. They receive annual refreshers for hazmat, bloodborne pathogens, right to know training, as well as sexual harassment. The fire officers are then charged with keeping accurate records, submitting them to the chiefs, who in turn submit them to the fire administrator, which position is vacant right now, but also to the director of public safety. And this type of on-the-job training keeps our ISO rating down, which in turn keeps homeowners insurance rates down in town, so we're thankful for that. The department offers extra coverage on the weekends, currently putting firefighters on duty in the evenings for the influx of tourism to the restaurant and bar scene, which we love as well. And we provide surrounding towns with mutual aid in case of a large fire, or if their fire department needs to lay one of their own to rest. All this time and effort is spent away from their family and friends, and for the love of the job and the sense of the community that they feel. We're here tonight to educate the people we protect on the status of a few topics regarding the fire department, which have already been touched on by the mayor and council, and we do appreciate all of those. The primary reason being the verbiage of dire in our PSA this past Wednesday was the electrical hazard for 11th Ave, Hook and Ladder. Now, as you've heard, there's an emergency authorization of funds to begin repair work on the building, but prior to our letter, there was an inadequate communication for the project. Considering the recent meeting and the appropriations tonight, we're satisfied with the borough's decision to make the repairs, but we simply ask for proper notification made to the fire department throughout the duration of this project and future projects. Next, we received multiple grants this past year, the first being an SCBA PAC grant, as well as one for personal protective equipment, which is the gear that we wear. We were awarded an assistance to firefighters grant, as we spoke about earlier, in August for $223,571. That's for the purchase of the air packs, as well as the American Rescue Plan grant for PPE in the amount of $40,000. Both grants had gone unaddressed until very recently, but the assurances were made by the borough, by the administrator, by the mayor, that they would move forward with the projects, and for that we are greatly thankful. Lastly, we received a Chevy Tahoe command vehicle, which is a marked vehicle much like a police car, but it takes the fire chief to the scene, establishes a command post, and it also stops them from putting their turnout gear in their personally owned vehicle. This was donated by a neighboring fire company, Wall Fire District Number 2, Glendola, in June, and it provides better response times for the chief, as I said, and increases the probability that one of the 3 chiefs that you see standing here will be able to dedicate a post for the incident command system to set up at a fire. This was also confirmed by resolution tonight, which we appreciate. Thank you. Now, in the interest of fairness and transparency, these issues we mentioned do not simply land on the shoulders of the sitting administration, but they reach back to the multiple administrations past. But prior to asking the residents to come down to tonight's meeting, the level of communication that we were receiving was inadequate. And we believe that our PSA was the sole reason for hearing these fixes, and we are very appreciative. Our goal tonight is to establish a renewed line of communication with the current administration and to start building a better relationship with the fire department and all the borough officials. The 3 chiefs in front of you swore an oath on January 1st of every year to do a job that most people would not do, especially without compensation. And the fire department does not ask for a lot. We ask for our equipment to do our job. We want to be treated with respect like the other departments, and we want to be able to communicate with our borough officials on a regular basis. The rest you can leave up to us. And in closing, we'd like to leave you with a few topics we need to be discussed at length in the very near future for the betterment of the department. Some incentive programs that are commonly used across the state and some neighboring towns as well. We would have plenty of examples behind closed doors, and attract retained membership. A comprehensive apparatus replacement plan, including those chief trucks, update the fire department's yearly budget, if allowable, and an update of the fire department ordinance under fire department consultation to reflect today's atmosphere and standards. Again, I want to say thank you so much for your time tonight, and I appreciate everything that the Mayor and Council and the Business Administrator have done for us just recently. So God bless, good night, thank you.
I'd just like to thank all the firefighters that are here tonight. At the meeting that Mr. Kane and I had, I think it was a great meeting. Obviously, Mr. Kane is I will say retired, but a former firefighter himself. So I think he has the best interest of everyone here, and myself included. You know, I have spoken with Mr. Kane on many occasions, and we're not going to let you know, the fact that we don't have, you know, maybe the grant funds available, we're not going to let that stop us from providing each of you with the personal protective equipment that you need, okay? I don't want to be ever notified that a firefighter was injured or, God forbid, killed in a fire because they didn't have the proper equipment, okay? So you have my word on that, you know, we will work to get you whatever you need in order to be safe at a fire and you protect us. So, you know, obviously we respect all of you. You do a tremendous amount of work. You do a tremendous amount of training. And I know I speak probably for the whole council that we all appreciate that. And I'm sure the residents of Belmar appreciate that. So thank you all. I'm glad you all came. And, you know, feel free to come to other meetings too. You know, it can be very interesting. So thanks again. Any other comments?
Diane Crocker, 302 River Avenue. What is the status on the White House, which is on Ocean Avenue, the big eyesore?
Currently, it's under litigation, I believe. There's litigation involved, and I think the last thing we heard is that the owner is going to fence it in. Maybe Mr. Kane can.
Yes, the owner, code enforcement had a meeting with the owners today, as a matter of fact, and it's held up in litigation for 2 years now. There was plans came to zoning board, I believe, to redevelop it. It was approved by the zoning board. The neighbor fought it, came back. It was reaffirmed by the zoning board. They appealed it to the county board of appeals. It was upheld at the county level, and now they've taken it one more level of appeals. So it's currently in the appellate process. So we, matter of fact, after that meeting today, I spoke to the owner also, and we're going to see from a legal standpoint what can be done. It may have to play out in the appellate process before anything can happen. We're going to find out if there's anything else that can happen. In the meantime, the code enforcement was trying to get them to at least demolish it, but I think that what they've done is agreed to put a fence up until we can find out what's going on in the appellate division.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Linda Sharkus, 4th Avenue. Have a few questions because I missed the last meeting, and fortunately, Randy asked my question about Seafood Fest. I got to ask, did you pull out the pencil and figure out if it's 50 or 60,000?
I don't know if we got the final figures on that.
That's a pretty big gap, and 10,000 to me is a lot of money. So I hope it's in our pocket.
We will definitely get that for you. Yeah.
Okay, so my other question is, it's 6 months in your administration. How are we doing on advertising on the electronic board at the marina for revenue?
I don't know what you mean by, for revenue? I
Yes,
don't have that.
There's an advertising
Yes.
fee for people to post all
I don't
the
have
locals?
those. I'm sorry.
Okay, could you?
I don't have those figures in front of me, but we definitely have it for the next meeting.
Okay. My next question, I haven't heard, or maybe I missed, what's going on with the piano? I heard Boston beat us to getting the first outdoor piano.
I'm going to defer to Mr. Kane on that, because I'm not really involved.
Yeah, Boston. There was others ordered prior to us doing this. We weren't the first ones. But what's happening right now is our attorneys are going through and vetting the contract. You're talking about a $50,000 purchase coming from a vendor that's really unknown, being constructed and being shipped from Israel. So the attorneys are going through the contract to make sure that everything in there is fully vetted. It's in production.
So the ask was for $70,000 in the beginning to have a trust fund for the maintenance of it. I understand that money was returned from a person who wanted to donate to the piano. Why would we give money back when we don't know, if you're saying it's 50,000, how are we maintaining it if we don't raise money as part of as it was part of the initial plan, as I understood it?
I'm going to interrupt for a second just to go back. When Mr. Kane referred to our attorneys, they're not our attorneys. It's not the borough attorneys that are involved in this. There are attorneys who have volunteered their services to the Arts Council. Okay, so the borough is not using its attorneys to represent them. And to answer your question, maybe not directly, but as best as I can, we being the borough, are not collecting the funds. All the funds are going to the Belmar Arts Council. So I don't know. I can't answer your question, and I don't know if Mr. Kane can, but if he can, he's obviously free to do so. But I just want to make the public aware that this is not a borough purchase of the piano. It's the Belmar Arts Council that's doing this purchase. We're helping them out just as, you know, good neighbors and trying to get something positive for the borough. But it's not a borough purchase.
Well, it would be nice if whoever's interfacing could give us a report on what's going on, because we no longer have the mermaid on the plaza. We're not getting the piano. It would have been nice to keep the mermaid there.
Mr. Kane can advise you what's happening with the mermaid. The mermaid, we have a question on where she went.
She's in the lake. We're working with DPW and engineering. Preliminary site work for the piano project is happening in Piano Plaza. That being said, the mermaid was removed by DPW because we're going to be starting to do work in there, you know, construction work, you know, for that area. And we're a local contractor has agreed to put the mermaid in a new spot, which will be very, very good. And
where might that be?
as you come on 10th Avenue, as you come off 35, that island in the middle with all the flowers and everything, they're gonna build a little platform. There's gonna be a stone with a memorial plaque with the mermaids, you know, all about.
Right behind the clock.
The other end of 10th.
So, but
as you're coming into town, it'll be a great entrance.
Okay. All right. And my last thing, which I guess is kind of is sensitive. I had before I actually looked at the agenda, 12th and Main building. It was, the whole idea was to have a building to house the ambulances to reduce rust and decay. So if we're not looking to do remediation and renovation, and by the way, $300,000 was withheld from the sale for cleanup, what are we doing with the ambulances?
I believe the ambulances are being stored in Lake Como in a garage. I don't know if that was their old first aid garage. I don't know exactly. I can't tell you exactly because I haven't been there.
The EMS they're stationed at the old firehouse, South Belmar Firehouse, until we find them.
Okay, so the ambulances are at
They
the
are
old
inside.
South Belmar Firehouse.
Do you anticipate that being a permanent place, or are we going to get them back to Belmar?
Well, no one anticipates that being permanent.
Okay.
We'd like to get them back.
What about the $300,000 for remediation?
That's being used at the present time to pay for the firm that was hired to do the remediation. The engineering, it's an engineering firm that's going through, and they've put in vents, and I think they're now focusing on testing the soil. And I think
it's a licensed soil remediation professional is monitoring that site as we speak and working that.
My last, I guess I understood that remediation and renovation were going to happen simultaneously, so you could get, by removing the section in the building, you could get to the contaminated soil a lot easier. Has that plan changed, or did I misunderstand the plan?
We inherited that plan, so we're trying to figure that out. Our engineers are working with the LSRPs to figure out what needs to be done with the site itself, you know, and we're working through that process right now.
I think some of those people are still around who came up with the plan. It would really be good if, instead of spinning the wheels, we talk to people and try to bridge the gap and bring, you know, consensus together on how to best go about this, if it's already been done. That's my comment. So,
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Come on up.
Randy Roselle, 11th Avenue. April, I'm very sorry for your loss. May your mom's blessing, memory of your blessing. Maria, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Jody, thanks for your work on the skate park. It's really nice. And Caitlin, you know how I feel about the 5G towers. Thanks a lot for what you're doing. Appreciate it. Mr. Mayor, 2 weeks ago you told me you'd try to do better. I'm still waiting for a return phone call. Thanks.
Next.
Tom Volker, 527 8th Avenue, Belmar. We've lost our stop sign, portable stop sign on 8th Avenue, and I'm wondering where it might be.
I don't know, but I'll make sure it's back there tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Steve. Appreciate it.
I have a feeling that Murray took it, but no, I was kidding.
That Murray took it? Oh boy. And, the San Gennaro Fest, where will it be?
It's going to be in Piano Plaza,
Okay.
and part of the parking area adjacent to Piano Plaza.
Thank you. And I'd like to congratulate Maria on her birthday. And also, thank you very much for getting this grant for the building moved along. Tedious process. I'm wondering about the group that was going to come here over the weekend. And I don't know if they did or they didn't, from Philadelphia. And
Talking a lot this evening. Yes, there was a post on a social media outlet called Meetup, a group called Black Everywhere Philadelphia, that they posted that they were coming to spend the day at the beach in Belmar, New Jersey. We monitored it for 2 weeks, had the state police monitor it. It ended up being a group of middle-aged professionals that wanted to come to Belmar for the day and enjoy the beach. There were no issues. I believe from photos that I saw, there was about 20, 25 that showed up for the day and enjoyed the Belmar beach.
good. I thought your approach was very fair. And I was also wondering, don't we have if you're going to have an event, you need a special permit?
It wasn't an event though, it was just a
Okay.
meetup at the beach.
Yeah.
And our approach was that we were going to monitor it,
Mhm.
and if it became a possibility that it was going to be anything other than that, then we would approach it that way. But it was not, they weren't saying they were coming to have a party on the beach, they weren't saying, with the incidents that were happening in Long Branch last year and this year, they weren't promoting dancing contests, promoting bringing alcohol or illegal drugs to the beach and party up. They were saying, come to the beach, bring your picnic basket, bring some food to share, and enjoy the day at the Jersey Shore.
I think it was really a very fair approach.
Thank you.
I'm glad we took that approach. What is the requirement under the group permit? Is there a number limitation or anything like that?
I don't
It's
know.
more
Is
of a
there?
description.
Yeah, it's more of what they're gonna do.
Such things as walks, block parties. We have those walks that walk on the boardwalk. They need a permit. If you want to have a block party and close a street, you have to have a permit. That kind of thing. So it doesn't cover just social gatherings.
Okay.
There is no permit required.
I'm trying to think back to when we had the Belmar Business Partnership and they had their car show.
That
They would
I
have
would
gotten
think
a
would
permit
need,
for that.
yeah, that would need a permit.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate your information.
Jim Waterman, 109 6th Avenue, Belmar. I'm here to talk a much smaller topic than the fire department, so this is not a big topic. But I did, about a week and a half ago, I got an email from one of the neighbors, and it was a link to a video from Jersey 12 News. What they did, I opened it up, it was in Lake Como, it was the administrator, and he was there talking to a dog named Galaxy and a person named Mike. And he was raving about, or talking about, how they cleaned up that lake from geese. right? This isn't new, I know you guys know this. I did send you an email. So the good thing is, I did a little digging, right? I wanted to understand what's going on in the neighboring towns. Talked to Spring Lake, they too use Galaxy and Mike, and it works. That was one. Two, is I did a little more research, and I want to understand the dog, what really works around the country. So I came across a website called Wildlife Removal USA, and they're pretty well known through the industry. And that thing said clearly, dogs are a key part of removing geese from an area safely. There's 2 dog types that they recommend, actually 3. One is a Border Collie, one is a German Shepherd, and the other one is an Australian difficult dog. I don't think there are many in the U.S., right? So the good thing is, okay, so I saw a German Shepherd by this guy Mike. Now I understand this whole picture. And I sent the letter. The third step was sending a letter to the mayor, the council, administrator, and our DPW head. And I wanted to get a sense from, since this is not new, it's been in the area, have we gotten a proposal or proposals from any of these people, including this guy, Mike, and his dog that seems to work very well for the other towns? I did get back a response from the mayor, and the response to the 4 questions I asked, I'll read them, is, since January 1, has the borough received any proposals or bids to remove these geese in a similar type manner? And the answer from the mayor was flat out no. Okay, I didn't get any feedback at all, I didn't get any response from the council, and I would like to ask today, did the council, 1, did you see the video that I did send? Okay, 2 was, are you aware of any proposal or proposals prior from any of these type of vendors that we would have gotten since January? And I didn't hear anything.
Oh, can I speak, Mr. Lonergan? Thank you so much for the email. I did watch the video.
Right.
I like your suggestions. I know that the mayor and the business administrator are working hard to get exactly what you're asking, something out there so that we can get bids for a dog service for someone to come.
Sure, so, and again, it was good to read that the German Shepherd and the Collie are the 2 dogs that work, right? So that was number 1. So from the council, you've not been aware of a bid before or a proposal of any sort. I'll ask the administrator as well. Are you familiar or aware of any bid or proposal that was made regarding this topic specifically this year?
No, there have been no formal bids.
I didn't say formal, any bid or proposal.
No, there has been no formal bids submitted.
Or
Therefore,
proposal.
no proposals.
No proposals, okay.
No formal proposals.
Proposals. I'll ask Billy, our head of DPW, were you aware of any proposals or bids that you would have gotten since January?
I think the administrator answered the question, and there has been no formal proposal.
But have you gotten any proposal whatsoever? With numbers and things like that on it, from anybody?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
They're not aware of that? The mayor, the council, the administrator are not aware of those bids?
I'm going to just interrupt for a second. I think we need to focus on what we're calling a proposal or a bid.
Sure.
Proposal, in my mind, and in the borough vernacular, is a response to something that we have put out. In other words, if I put out and I say I want to hire someone to paint this room, then I will get proposals from those people. Okay? So that's my definition of proposal, and that's what I think we're talking about, because it has kind of like a legal substance to it in terms of being a response to something that the borough has requested.
As a body, an entity, I would ask, did this bid or I should say proposal or multiple proposals just come out of thin air, or were they asked for? Which is a department head, possibly, or administrator asking for those. I think it's important.
Question. Are you aware of in your mind, a proposal or a bid being submitted to the borough?
I am.
Okay, so who did it and what did it propose?
I think the best thing to do, I have it here, the best thing to do is ask the administrator and the head of DPW, did you get any form or request any form of a proposal to solve this problem since January 1 of this year, yes or no?
I don't think we're in a cross-examination
Do you
here.
want an answer to did you get a proposal or did you ask for a proposal? I don't think anything was asked for unless Billy knows differently. But we probably should just cut to the chase on this and stop all the mystery. we're doing this cross-examination. So, you know.
Why don't you just let me see what you have?
Just.
I have it right here. I actually could be happy to talk about it. I'll read it to you if you'd like to see it, right?
Sure.
And let's see, because I think as you go through and you talk to the person, because now I know who Mike is, clearly has submitted a proposal. I don't know, and I'm asking Billy, was there more than one proposal? Yes or no? And did you ask? I mean, that's a fair question.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
It does matter, Mayor. It does.
If we got 100 proposals and we don't have any request, then it becomes a moot point. Because when we get a proposal, proposals are sent either to the municipal clerk, okay, who receives most of the information that comes here, or it's sent to the attorney or to the budget person or the purchasing person, okay?
People don't submit proposals for nothing, right? Unless somebody asks for a proposal.
That's my point.
Right, was there a proposal asked for?
No. Is a proposal being brought, well, you're supposed to be talking to me.
No, not really.
Right.
I'm talking to the governing body and administration.
It has to be directed to the
Yes.
You can't ask Billy, that's not fair.
Just to clear it up.
So I'll give you more definition, right? So on February 9th, did Billy or?
Well, we're not going to do counselor. We're not going to do a cross-examination
You can
here.
ask the question, but.
That's all I'm doing. I'm asking a question.
If we ask for bids or proposals, and the answer is no. So.
We defined
If
as.
anybody knows any different, you know, if you know what the answer is, why don't you just get to what you're getting at?
I'm looking at one of the proposals,
Okay,
right? So February 9th, do you want me to tell you? I'll read the proposal. You want to read the whole thing? I'll read
Who
it.
asked for it? Do you know who asked for it?
I'm going to, Billy,
Would it be safe to say it was an unsolicited proposal?
was there only one proposal or was there more?
No, I asked you a
Let's answer.
question first.
Okay.
I said, is it an unsolicited proposal?
I can't answer that.
Why not?
Oh, I'm asking this group to answer that question. I have, right, I've asked it twice.
Let's just, let me see the proposal or whatever it is, and we'll go from there.
We operate by request for proposals, and we have not sent one out for keys, and we're working on one right now.
Exactly.
So I suppose this guy, Mike, can respond to the RFP if he has the qualifications to do so.
I just wanted to add, we get vendors all the time that submit quotes for projects, software, anything. They submit a quote, but depending on that type of quote and the dollar amount and what's involved, we either have to bid it or do a request for proposal. So maybe that's where some of the confusion is.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things, right? I think you have a minimum bid number, correct? I think it's 17,000, if I'm not mistaken, is that correct? Minimum bid, right? So I'm looking at a proposal for $4,500. And again, it goes to, did anyone even request this, or did you get one or more proposals that came to you? I'm still asking the same question I started with, and I'm not getting...
We received no proposal, we requested no proposals for geese removal. The one that's in process now is the only one that is going to be requested since January 1st. Okay, I have received no offers, nothing from anyone saying they wanted to, you know, remove geese from the lake. And if I had, it would be a moot point because we didn't have any bids or any proposals out there. So I would consider that an unsolicited bid. Almost like an advertisement. You know, like when you get the mail and it says, we can replace your windows for $25 a window, and you call us and we'll come over and do it. Well, if somebody sends me a document and says, we'll paint the council chambers for $2,000, and I have it sitting on my desk, that's not a proposal.
I still ask the question.
That's a commercial. That's
Did
an advertisement.
anyone request in January, February, through this period?
I'm saying it for the third time.
I'm going to keep asking my question.
No one requested.
So Billy, was anyone, did you request?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Billy, did you ever receive a proposal? Did you request a proposal for removing geese from the lake?
No.
Okay. Did you ever receive an unsolicited proposal from someone who said, oh, I can remove the geese from the lake?
Yes.
Okay, and who was that proposal from?
It was from Mike.
Mike Campbell, right?
Correct.
The former DPW director.
Correct.
Okay. And what did you do with that proposal?
Discussed it with me.
So you knew about it, okay.
We got a proposal. We got an email and he discussed it.
And
that is the only, I'll call it unsolicited proposal you received. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So there's a proposal on the table from a guy that solves it for all the other towns, who's been in with us for 6 months, right? This proposal was back in February.
It's not a proposal. It's just an
whatever
offer.
we want to call it, but it's
an offer.
Okay, so someone that does this job well for other towns, someone that's a resident of this town made a bid, or whatever word we want to use, back in February to solve this problem.
Right.
We didn't act on it. Tell me why we didn't act on it.
Because we don't have to.
No way.
Really?
Mr. Lonergan, I know how important this issue is about the East and Silver Lake for you, especially being a resident who lives right there. I'm saying that we've heard from so many residents who live right around there and other concerned residents about the health concerns. I mean, it is absolutely a nuisance and a health concern, and we understand that. The mayor and council are taking it seriously. We are getting what is formally asking for proposals. At that point in time, then we can accept those proposals and have it come back to the table. So I just want you to know that you are being heard. I'm sorry that you're not getting the answer as to that prior offer, but it wasn't an official proposal. Thank you.
Could I ask a question, just the last question? Is if someone is doing a very good job with other towns and they bid on something, or whatever word we want to use, why wouldn't we use that person? Tell me that. I don't get, that's what I'm stuck with. Someone's had, the group's had something since February. If we dealt with it in February, we would have solved this issue a long time ago. Instead, I see a picture of a dead goose across the street from my house. A whole other topic, right? Why didn't we act on it? 6 months ago. 6 months ago.
Because, as I said in one of my other responses, is we follow the public contracting law, which says, and which is it's actually done and written to be fair to vendors who want to put in proposals for different types of work. And that public contracts law requires that we make notice to the world that we are looking for this type of service, and we would like you to, do these things, and you send this in by a certain date, and then we will take those proposals and we will look at them all, and we will decide if we're going to select any of your vendors. What you're describing is called, favoritism. Okay,
No,
that would be like if I picked someone and I said, oh, I'm going to have my cousin do the geese removal at the lake. Is that fair?
Mayor,
is that fair?
You talk to the mayor.
Can you answer my question, please?
Is that
fair?
I'm not going to take the question, is the issue. To say it's tainted or something? I don't even know the guy. I just got to know him last week.
No, I'm just saying, but we don't make appointments to do work without following the contract law.
Trust me, Mayor, I know the contract law. I did 9 years. Trust me, I know the contract law.
What did you do 9 years?
Chatham Borough.
You were a department head?
They reported to me, yes.
You were a council person?
I was the council president, yes.
Did you ever run a department in Chatham?
No, I'm too busy running my public companies. How about that answer? Right?
So you did not actually run a unit.
You never said I ran a town.
You just said you
the
had 9 years.
The person that runs the town is administrator.
All right, you were 9 years.
I'm not going to debate this topic, but I'm not going to leave it until I understand that, okay, so we had an answer a while ago, and we didn't act on it. I'm asking you a direct question now. Is there something behind the scenes that is allowing
Absolutely not.
I'm going to leave it at that answer, okay? I'll leave it here. I'll let it go. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else? Okay, I think that's it. April?
I have a motion to close the public session and adjourn the meeting.